Thank you so much, Martha. And thank you everyone on the call today for giving some of your precious time to spend together and to learn about a new opportunity that we have in front of us about short-term credentials and with Amazon Web Services. So I just want to say that we're very much looking forward to seeing everyone in Dallas. I know that you're all busily preparing to come together, and we so look forward to seeing you there. But really, the work that we're talking about today is very much related to that and stems from a couple of things that's happening in our state. Certainly, this opportunity for partnership with AWS stems both from your deep commitment to our TRUE initiative, and that is serving your communities and folks who need to be very quickly upskilled and reskilled, particularly in programs that are in high demand and lead to living wage jobs. So we know that when we talk with AWS and we talk about cloud computing, programming, training, that this fits squarely in the conversations that we're having around TRUE and scaling up short-term credentials for students in our communities that need us. It also stems from a relationship that we've built recently with AWS. So some of you may know, some of you serve on the Business Advisory Council, but for those of you who don't know, TACC has a new Business Advisory Council that's staffed by statewide leaders in business and industry and also in our community colleges. And this is where we deepened our relationship with AWS and explored the idea of a partnership we could go into. And so that's what today is about, is sharing with you the opportunity that AWS presents to us, and that will be supported by TACC and the Business Advisory Council in order to help you think about how you can take advantage of the offerings that AWS has. And so with that, then I will make no further ado, but to introduce two folks from AWS that will be speaking to you about the opportunity. And that is Kimberly Carlisle, who's the Business Development Manager for Education to Workforce at AWS, and also Dr. John Lee, who is the Workforce Program Manager for Amazon Web Services. So with that, I'll turn it over to John and Kimberly to share this opportunity. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. It's always good to see you. And again, thank you everyone for taking your time today. We're excited to share with you more information about AWS Academy, highlight some local partnerships that we've developed, and also hear from you, answer any questions that you may have, and understand some of the concerns and the needs that you are facing so that we can help support and find solutions to meet your needs. I'd like to just go ahead and introduce the folks that we have with us today, so you know who you'll have the chance to hear from, and then we will dive into a presentation that we have. We do have some time available at the end of the presentation to answer any questions that you have, so please feel free to make note of any questions, and we'll make sure to save some time to address those as well. But to begin by introduction, my name is Kimberly Carlisle. I am the Business Development Manager for the Amazon Web Services Education to Workforce team. And that means I have the opportunity to work with state-level leaders and employers in those states that we are working with. We have a very exciting partnership in Texas, which you will hear more about. But that is a little bit about myself. I am joined today by my colleague, John Lee, who is the Educational Workforce Program Manager. You may know John. He's worked very closely with the institutions, not only in Texas, but in several states throughout the US. You'll have a chance to hear from John shortly. After John, we are going to hear from our friends at Houston Community College. We are working with them on a couple of really exciting initiatives. So from Houston Community College, we have Dr. Michael Webster. He is the Associate Vice Chancellor of Workforce Instruction. We also have the Dean of Digital Information Technology within their Center of Excellence, Dean Samir Sabar. So we'll have the opportunity to hear from both of them. And then we're also glad to be joined today by one of our local employers in Texas, tech systems. So we will also hear from Jason Maroney, the Director of Global Recruiting, as well as Minu Rayana, also a Director of Global Recruiting with Tech Systems. And then in addition to Jason and Minu, we will also hear from Michelle Jim. Michelle is one of their recruiters spearheading some of their boot camps and some of the work that they are doing there. So with that, we're going to begin by hearing from John Lee. I think John has some slides that he will share and kind of run the PowerPoint deck for us, if that's okay. So John, I'll turn the time over to you. And if you'd like to add anything to your introduction, please feel free.
Great, thank you, Kimberly, and good afternoon, everyone. Let me just go right into the slides, and I hope this will come across. Okay, hope that shows. And well, Kimberly, if you wouldn't mind watching the chat box for any types of questions that we may need to respond. I can't see it from my end.
Will do.
Thank you. So here at AWS, we're really focusing on building cloud skills for the digital economy in Texas. And as Cynthia mentioned earlier, that we've signed a memorandum of understanding or letter of support with TACC and to be able to work with community colleges in Texas and help provide our educational resources to help upskill and reskill many of the workers and learners throughout the state. Our goal is to train about 50,000 learners in the cloud skills in the next several years. So we want to do all we can to support your efforts in getting your students trained and be able to get jobs in the IT industry as a whole. But this is what we're finding. First, we're finding a great deal of IT skill gap all over the world, and Texas is no different, and particularly with growing industries. So we're trying in number 2, connecting industry and academy in a partnership so that those learners who go through the training will actually be able to get the jobs on the back end. And then the third, I'd like to cover some question and some next steps at the end of the presentation. Many of you are leaders in your institutions, so you know that cloud migration has accelerated. And the fact that this Zoom meeting is virtual and that all of this is happening in the cloud, so the pandemic has only accelerated the move toward the cloud. And if you get an idea, I mean, most of you know, but just so for some of you who are not as familiar with all things cloud really is just the computing, basically on demand of all IT type of resources over the internet. Organizations of every type, size. In Texas, we have gas and oil, finance, technology, retail, medical, research, satellites. All kinds of industries are coming under the cloud. And some of you already know this. What was the oil of the 20th century? The new oil of the 21st century is data, and how data gets used and exploited and for productivity. And all the Internet of Things, everything is being used, and all that is going into the cloud, basically large data centers all over the world. And AWS happens to be the largest cloud provider. And that gets analyzed and researched for various uses. So this movement has accelerated, and we're trying to accommodate the growth in the industry. And in order to do so, we need to partner with higher education institutions as well as industry partners. So AWS, for the most part, we're a comprehensive and broadly adopted cloud platform, and with robust functionalities. We often get questions like this: if we store things on your cloud, what if there's a tornado or a hurricane or a tsunami or whatever? Well, we have what's called 11 nines, 99.9999999, 11 nines of reliability, replicated at least 6 times across different locations, so that even if one place were to go down to tornado or to hurricane or whatever, it will likely survive and be reliable. So that's the cloud environment. It's secure, robust, largest global community of customers and partners, flexible, and and you could innovate quickly because you don't have to purchase new hardware every time you want to do some project. You can simply use the resources in the cloud. So there's a significant operational expertise as well. Now, just to give you an idea, companies investing in the AWS cloud include 90% of the startups, particularly in California, where all the internet startups are. They're all in the cloud. It's not just an IT solution, but it's a business solution. And enterprise like GE, Netflix, even major leagues, Capital One, they're all in the AWS cloud, as well as public sector, governments, universities, research centers, nonprofits, and so on. And this is what our customers are telling us. Those spend millions and millions of dollars are saying this. The biggest inhibitor to cloud adoption is the lack of skills. Enterprises can't hire and train fast enough. Let me just give you an example. At AWS, we have, I believe, over 20,000 IT skill positions, full-time, well-paying jobs that are open, but not yet filled. In fact, we hire people who don't have the necessary skills and then bring them on board and give them 3 months to get trained and get certified in AWS certifications so they can begin to work. If that's the case internally for the largest cloud provider in the world, you could imagine the needs of our customers and partners, thousands and thousands of them across the globe. And Texas is not an exception. They are looking for cloud skilled IT professionals. So customers are saying we need to accelerate our business transformation initiatives, operate in the cloud, but lack the in-house skills. We need more people. And then they're trying to ensure security and compliance because, as you know, security is a big issue. And cloud provides a more secure environment, but they also need skilled people and develop cloud skills and approaches and reduce their operating costs. And so our customers are saying this, and we're trying to meet their needs. Just to give you an idea of the cloud skill gaps that exist. In the past 3 years, 90% of the organizations are reporting severe shortages. Nearly 80% of IT decision makers say their own teams lack cloud computing skills. So because of this, we looked at Texas in particular. And this data is country specific and state specific in the US. This is what we found. Nearly 350,000 unique job postings in Texas requiring cloud computing skills of some sort. That's this year. Of the top 10 IT certifications, AWS certifications happens to be 2 or 3 of our in the top 10. And we found that in the past year, job postings with AWS specific certifications increased 41% in the last year alone. And pandemic has made that even more dire. So we're trying to find people and support the labor force in order to get them jobs. And this is just Texas alone. So AWS is committed to empowering higher education communities with resources they need to prepare students for in-demand roles. And to do that, we have a program called AWS Academy. What the Academy does is provide your schools, many of your schools are already members, with ready-to-teach cloud curriculum at no cost and prepare students to pursue industry-recognized AWS certifications and in-demand cloud jobs. So the curriculum that we have are multiple courses like cloud foundations, machine learning, architecting, developing, natural language processing, data analytics, and so on. These are ready to teach, and then they're mostly aligned to higher education institutions and to certifications so that at the end of it all, that students will be ready for employment. Some of our institutions, member institutions, actually have developed cloud degree programs, associate degree programs, and they're deploying it and just getting started, and many are on the way, or certificate programs as well. And the curriculum basically, and I won't go into any details, but these are all lecture modules digitally streamed. There are no textbooks to worry about. Students get hands-on lab experiences. There are multiple quizzes, so the faculty member could have visibility into students, how they're doing, and then exercises. All the millions that's been spent to develop and deploy the program, we're offering it at no cost to member institutions. Now, I'm going to turn it over to Kimberly to describe a little bit about what we're trying to do, not only working with higher education institutions, but with industry partners. Kimberly?
Thank you, John. That was a really helpful overview talking about the cloud and just the demand that we are seeing. To dig a little deeper into this and to talk about how this can relate to you and the local institutions and employers there in Texas, I wanted to talk a little bit about industry and higher education. We feel like cloud is opening the door for new opportunities for innovation between education and industry. And really that partnership is just so critical now and will continue to be moving into the future. I know that I'm preaching to the choir here, but that's what we are seeing as well from the AWS side. If we go to the next slide, John, the connection between industry and education really is threefold. Working with all of the parties together on the higher education side when it comes to administering the AWS programs. We have curriculum that's available to be taught within these institutions. It's ready to go. We work directly with the institutions and the faculty to be able to offer the curriculum. And then of course the students are key in all of this, as they are the learners, the individuals who are getting trained, who have the opportunity to pass the AWS certifications that align with these courses. And then with that skill set, aligning with industry, local customers. AWS has customers throughout the world. We certainly have a lot of customers in Texas, but aligning the institutions and their students with these local employers who are looking to hire these highly qualified candidates is really important. And so overall, that's what we're focusing on. Those are kind of the three main approaches there. If we go to the next slide, we can dig a little deeper into the academic solutions by talking about the AWS skills and the curriculum that entails. So AWS has the AWS Academy curriculum, which as you can see here entails lectures, interactive labs, knowledge checks, and extended project environments. There's also opportunities to prepare educators to earn industry recognized AWS certifications. A part of our partnership with AWS and the state of Texas is that we waive the cost for instructors to earn those certifications. We also cover half of the cost for the students to earn those certifications as well. And so we are here to help support the instructors with professional development, with those certification waivers, and with the curriculum so that they feel comfortable and have what they need when it comes to implementing and teaching to the AWS courses. If we go to the next slide, wanted to talk about the employability solutions here a little bit that we are seeing, and the skill set that these individuals can take away by participating in these AWS Academy courses. So we have them listed here below: cloud support associate, web developer engineer, application developer, software developer, DevOps, data integration, cybersecurity specialists, and cloud support engineers. We hear those probably the most. It seems like cybersecurity I'm hearing on a daily, if not hourly basis. It seems like machine learning, data scientist, and solutions architect. And so those are some of the skills that these AWS courses specifically focus on. John, if we want to go to the next slide, the workforce development solutions here is that we have the opportunity to focus on reskilling as well as scaling, upskilling opportunities and programs within the global network by collaborating with organizations. And so we have the opportunity to work with local employers, identify incumbent employees who are needing maybe to upskill or reskill, but we also have the opportunity to focus on individuals who have not yet entered into the workforce and who may be interested in studying and harnessing some of those skills that we talked about on the previous slide. John, if we want to go to the next slide.
Okay, next slide is we have our
are we already to
Academy
Houston?
member. Yes, we are. So if
Okay.
Folks at our Houston Community College would share with some of the slides that you provided for us.
Yeah, I'll get us started. Thank you all for having us today. We have been partnering with AWS for quite a while now. It's been a great partnership. Just a little background on HCC. We serve a rather large space. If you're familiar with Houston, basically if you started downtown and you create a 40-mile diameter of a circle, that is our stretch. So it's huge. 26 campuses, typically 80 to 90,000 students per year. And you'll see on the chart here, 270 certifications and 100 plus instructional programs. This about 5 years ago, the college broke down. I mean, given the size, obviously, we broke down our workforce programs into centers of excellence, which is a concentration of resources and programming around industry sectors. We now have 14 of those. The phase one was really to get our credit programs within those workforce centers of excellence stood up and operating. The phase two, I think, was we connected up our continuing ed programs directly into those centers of excellence. So there's a stackable pathway. And I think the third phase right now where we're at is on really fleshing out the work-based learning that happens on the campuses and within the centers of excellence. So, anything work-based learning from bringing real life problems and real world problems into the classroom that companies are dealing with, to internships, job shadowing, and then really the gold standard, which would be the apprenticeship, registered apprenticeships. AWS has been a strong partner in this effort, and Samir will tell us a little bit more about how he's implemented the academy. But just on the front of work-based learning, there's an organization it is an initiative that's been created through our local chamber, the Greater Houston Partnership. It's the Greater Houston Apprenticeship Network, and AWS has been a founding member. With the goal of creating apprenticeships across the region in non-traditional programs. So as opposed to just construction trade, craft trades that you would typically see and have seen over the course of time with our union partners, looking at ways to create additional pathways for students in apprenticeships and work-based learning in non-traditional. So we're working with AWS to build that out in the IT sector, and we've done so in the business sector. And I'm going to turn it over to Samir to give us a brief overview of what we have on with AWS in that fashion. And I want to preface this by saying nobody recruits Samir. We're keeping him.
That's hilarious. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, I guess if you would go to the next slide, John. This one was some powerful partnerships that we have. Obviously, Amazon is there, but just to show you that all of these vendors or partners that we have, they're all looking for AWS training. I mean, it's just so big right now. Next one, yeah. This is a little flash overview of some of the programs that we offer, and we do have a lot of different ones, as you can tell. There's an AWS piece and everything. Even the AI degree here that you see, that's the first in Texas. We were lucky to have that, and starting in fall 21, well, it was fall 2020 is when it started, but we have 51 students right now, which is really great. And that program alone has a lot of AWS components, AWS SageMaker, all the machine learning and all of that that Kimberly had listed earlier. And then under our computer programming degree, this is where we launched our first cloud computing 2-year degree back in fall of 2019. So this was another effort that was the first in Texas. Several schools, basically met in Austin and worked with Amazon to be able to offer this degree. I served on the Texas Higher Coordinating Board at the time, and I was part of the team that basically approved those degrees. And I can tell you at the time, so many of the current degrees that were offered generally in the state were very outdated in terms of not being cloudified, if you will. So for example, a lot of the courses around databases were old and those were changed. Some of the fundamental skills, for example, that Mr. Bonke here in chat asked for, a lot of those kind of courses that were offered needed a refresher. And so yeah, and then that's how it started. So there is a cloud computing degree that all the schools in Texas could offer. So the one that we're offering here right now at HCC is a more on the developer side. So that's the one that prepares you to be a solutions architect or the developer. And of course, the cloud practitioner certification, which is the entry-level one. And as you can tell, we have great success there. First semester, we had 6 enrolled majors, and then 35 in fall 2020, and then 51 in fall 21. And so we're seeing that number grow more and more. And yeah, you can see some of these other areas, and I won't go deep into them, but cybersecurity, of course, is huge too. And even on the forensic side, for example, using tools like the image recognition solutions from Amazon, using the virtual machines there for the networking. At an IT level, streaming desktops. There are so many products that Amazon offers that you can embed in your courses. IoT is another one. So on the networking side, we're looking to offer a cloud infrastructure 2-year degree sometime in the future, possibly fall 23. It does take time. So, but there's a big demand there on the administration side. So, be able to be an architect and, help companies move from on-prem to the cloud. There's a huge push there, right, to run anything hybrid. And so for on the cybersecurity side, there's a lot that's involved in there. And of course, the business side. So continuing ed as well, there's a huge demand there, especially during COVID, as John mentioned, we have this thing thanks to the cloud right now. And there's been a huge push there for students to get those skills. So anything AWS cloud practitioner, very in high demand. And we'll keep seeing that. Next, and I guess I can say, yeah, the Amazon Academy, it's been great. We were using also the AWS Educate, which merged together. The support has been great. The curriculum is top notch there. It's free. We get discounts on vouchers. So if you're not using the Academy, you should really consider doing that. So for any teachers that need material to train and be certified, it's a great way to do that. We have several of our faculty already certified. As Mike mentioned here, we have 14 different centers of excellence in all of these areas. And I can tell you all of them are needing AWS tools and curriculum. So we are expanding on the workforce side. There's a lot of funding from the state, from different grants. The apprenticeship piece, everything is going down the apprenticeship route of creating custom training models for all of these industries, because as you know, IT is just booming everywhere. Smart manufacturing, automation of cars, I mean, everything. And AWS plays a huge role in that.
Thank you, Samir. At this point, we'll turn it over to our friends at TACC Systems. I just wanted to mention briefly that one of the most important parts that we're looking at is not only on the educational side as students and learners come into the pipeline, but we really want to connect them to the employers. And TACC Systems we think is a wonderful partner in working with Houston Community College to really provide students with good jobs. And they're a global organization. So I won't say much more, and I'll hand it over to our TACC Systems friends.
Great. Thank you, John. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. So by way of a real brief introduction, my name is Jason Maroney. I'm joined with Minu Reina, as Kimberly mentioned, and Michelle Jim from our team. We represent recruiting for TACC Systems Global Services. The slide here is fairly busy. The short of what we're trying to encapsulate here with this slide is just by way of a brief introduction is we are basically partners in transformation with our customers as an IT professional services organization. I like to say that basically what that means is we help our clients activate ideas as well as solutions to take advantage of many of the things John was alluding to before, take advantage of this new world of opportunity and technologies. So TACC Systems as a whole is comprised of about 80,000 employees. We work with 6,000 clients, including about 80% of the Fortune 500 across North America, Europe, and Asia as an industry leader in full stack technology services. What might provide a little bit of clarity on this slide here is just a real world example, and you'll think that John and I collaborated beforehand, and I could have probably just misled you all, but the example I'm going to give you is a perfect example of what John was talking about as far as AWS. So we've got a client, a large global financial asset management firm, and like so many organizations, they wanted to take advantage of technology to enable them even more so and to be a strategic differentiator for their customers. So they wanted to embark on a digital transformation journey to AWS for some of the reasons that John was talking about, for security, for scalability, for economical success. And so what we did, we went in and proposed a full stack solution. So basically reshaping their applications to the cloud to drive their customer experience. What we had to do in this situation was assess their entire legacy application, their legacy technology for complexity and current state of what they were or weren't doing, and move all that technology stack, migrate that to AWS. We are an AWS advanced consulting partner, which puts us in fairly elite company. And so what we did was we cloud enabled all of their applications, their DevOps space, their automation, their data analytics and insight. And so effectively we help them migrate a very complex foundation and all the layers to the cloud, to AWS, which allowed for them to have a ton of scalability. It increased their infrastructure for some of the same things that John was talking about. It made it much more agile, more nimble, less constraints from an equipment standpoint. So that's a good example of one customer that we're engaged with. And so to segue to today's conversation, Minu, myself, and Michelle, we knew that what our recruiting team does as far as finding, recruiting, and attracting top tier experienced hires from competitors or from the industry, it couldn't be sustainable. It couldn't be the only thing that we were doing or the only mechanism to continue to grow the way that we have and what we expect to do. So about 3.5 years ago, we came up with the idea of bringing in some talent that was just simply focused on our core fundamentals from a characteristic standpoint of what we believe would be great future employees within our company. So good communication skills, the ability to work on a team. Are they nimble? Are they agile themselves? And then are they constant learners? Because this space is just growing so dynamically and so fast. The pace of change is incredible. So we said, what if we bring in, 30, 35, 40 people at a time and put them into a boot camp environment? Boot camps were very cliche 2-3 years ago. And they still are. There's still, a dime a dozen out there. But ultimately, we put these 30 or 35 students, after we screen them, test for some capabilities, we put them into this class. We develop the curriculum ourselves. We deliver it with our instructor. It's free to the attendees. And ultimately, if they come out as a graduate after the 12 or 13 weeks of content that we provide them, then we will hire them. We will hire them into our organization as a full-time benefited employee. So that's a brief overview and introduction. I'll hand it over to Michelle, my recruiting partner, and she can give you a little bit more of the particulars of the boot camp and just kind of take it from there. And then, as Kimberly mentioned, we're certainly open to questions at the end here. So over to you, Michelle. Michelle? Are you on mute maybe?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Now we can.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Technology is great. Well, like Jason mentioned, my name is Michelle, and I'm the recruiter that's kind of leading the bootcamp initiative. So I wanted to give a few highlights about bootcamp and what it is and what it's like. So this is a full-time 12-week program. They are learning full stack web development. So they're learning both the front end and the back end portion. And really the main thing about this program and what sets us apart is that upon successful completion of the program, we are offering our graduates full-time salaried positions as junior developers, and these are positions with benefits as well. They get a very unique opportunity to join an IT professional services firm really early on their career, which is usually pretty difficult to do. And we also have different programs, so they can, once they graduate, they can go into our core development team, our continuous testing team, or even our cloud team. And we also have a lot of continued support throughout the program. So they have access to tech mentors, they have their instructors, they can do one-on-ones as needed. And even after they graduate, we do a lot of work with them. So during those first 3 months, they are working on a project, but they also have extra support and professional development available. Can we go to the next slide? And these are some of the languages that they're learning. They're learning software development methodology, multiple in-demand languages. This is what we're currently using in our practices. So it's going to be super useful for them, really set them up for a career in IT. And I wanted to share a few success stories that we had. We had a boot camper starting in one of our earlier boot camps. He came from a help desk background. So he had he was very tech savvy, but really didn't have any development skills. And right now he is working in our core development team. It's been there for about 2 years now. I also wanted to share the story of Nancy, who started in with 0 experience. So this was somebody that really had never done any development before. And this was about 2 years ago. And right now she's not only still working in our continuing testing team, but she is also mentoring some of our newer graduates. So a lot of success over there. Can we go to the next slide? And I just wanted to kind of give you a brief overview of what our application process looks like. It's really quite simple. They fill out an application online, then we have them do a test. And that is more of a logic reasoning test. We want to see what their problem solving skills is like. We can teach them, like we were talking about before, we can teach the coding portion, but we need to make sure that this is somebody that will be really successful at that. And then after that, they will be doing an interview with our recruiting team, and we will basically walk them through from there. So really in just 12 weeks, they can go from not knowing anything about coding to really being on a place where they are working with us full time as a junior developer. Next one.
Great. I think that's the last slide. So I just wanted to just comment that AWS is very excited to work with Tech Systems because they're having not only focusing on recruiting from your typical four-year institutions and those with significant talent, but they're also very much into, can we get talent from two-year institutions and non-traditional folks who are being upskilled or reskilled, and they want to be able to take them in, train them a little bit more, and on top of that, it's all free training in the boot camp plus stipend, and be able to employ them. All those who graduate, 85% who finishes their program do get completely employed fully in their organization. So it's an exciting opportunity. And this is not just one time a year, but multiple times through the year. They're bringing cohorts in to train students from community colleges and other non-traditional learners. So we think this is a great partnership, and working with Houston Community College, and hopefully as we develop the partnership, that this could scale out to other schools in Texas, and we're able to open up the pipeline a lot bigger than what it is today. And for just the next steps, this is what we would like to ask you as key stakeholders, leaders, and decision makers in your institutions to introduce to your computer information systems, business department chairs, and faculty to get them started on and training for cloud skills that will lead to job opportunities. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us, and we'll be able to address and how to and what next. So I'll just leave the screen here for a minute and turn it back to Cynthia, or open up for Q&A. And Cynthia, you feel free to lead us in discussion.
Thank you, John, and folks from Tech Systems and Houston Community College. I so appreciate your stories. They're so very much aligned with the conversations we're having in Texas with our community colleges, and particularly with our guided pathways work. So very much timely and relevant for today. So folks that are on the line, any questions that you have for these three groups, please type them in the chat. And I will just have one more little comment about what you have on the screen there, and I see a question in the chat for you, John. So you see where John has put, if you're interested in this, and we hope that many of you are, because we are committed to true, we are committed to serving our communities and quickly getting people skilled quickly. And so AWS was a great place for us, TACC, to start, because they were so very well organized. It was very easy to partner with them, that they already had the resources available. So if you're talking about wanting to deploy very quickly, AWS was a great opportunity. And then when they came to TACC with this offer about these free benefits that they could offer to the community colleges, we thought this was a great way for us as TACC to stay committed to all 50 community colleges. So regardless if you have the full Houston Community College systems of excellence, or you want to get to that point where you have a systems of excellence or centers of excellence, that Evanston was a great place to start. So John, one of the first questions we have in the chat is that, or really this could be for Houston Community College, are you partnering with the Tech Systems, or are you doing something different from that?
If you could clarify what you mean by Tech Systems, as with the company. We are partnering, correct. Yes, and Tech Systems is a strategic partner with AWS, and what Tech Systems use AWS and implement the cloud infrastructure to their customers as well, and they have a significant network. So as a channel to get our community college students be employed, and with Tech Systems as a great partner, currently working with Houston Community College, and hopefully we could develop this. We're just at the beginning stage, and we want to develop this partnership into a much fuller and larger pipeline and develop over time. And as we build a successful model, we want to be able to share it with other community colleges. And you don't have to be in the major city, because we're in a digital and we could do things virtually. Much of our jobs, Kimberly and I included, we are virtual positions that we could work from anywhere. And so the opportunity opens up not only for the city schools as well as rural schools as well. And with great partners on both academic institution as well as Tech Systems.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And then another question about how does a college get connected? So I hope that you are interested in connecting with and finding out how you can take advantage of this free curriculum and free professional development. So because we do have this partnership with AWS, we want to help support getting you connected with that. So you can see John put a URL in the slide in front of you, but also we have a lot of information about the TRUE initiative and the Business Advisory Council on the TACC website. So there's also a way to get to the AWS partnership information and a place to sign up. If you go to the TACC website and you look at TRUE, and then there's a whole AWS page that explains more about the partnership, what's available there. And what I would encourage you, particularly CEOs and CAOs that are on the call, workforce leads, if you have a business, a faculty member that you would like to get connected to this, if you would please send them to the website to learn more. And then also I would encourage you, as you're coming to Dallas next week, we're going to be talking about these very topics. We're going to be talking about TRUE credentials. You're going to see some of your colleagues like Houston today give examples of how they have scaled up short-term credentials, how they have worked with industry, and how they're scaling it very quickly, in addition to connecting it to their longer term pathways that they've been building, so that students have opportunity to not only get in very quickly, get skilled, get into apprenticeship programs, but also when they come back to us and they want to further their education for career opportunities and promotions and higher wages, that they don't lose any of that credit. They don't lose any of that time, that it is aligned in a way that's more stackable than we've ever stacked before, I'd like to say, so that we can do the best for our students to quickly get them skilled and into good careers. So then the next question we have is, can you provide the name of some employer partners who are looking for employees who have these kinds of skills and specific job titles that are associated with it? So I don't know, John or Michael, if you were able to answer some of those questions.
Cynthia, can I chime in here and just ask clarification from Anne? Was that question directed to tech systems and the employers that they are working with, or was that directed just to AWS in general?
Probably more to Mike Webster than anybody else.
Oh, okay.
There you go, Mike.
I'll pass it over to Mike.
Yeah, and I'll let Samir answer that one directly. He's on the front lines working with these employers that are hiring up his graduates.
Yeah, so, everyone thinks immediately these cloud skills are, for cloud developer, cloud solutions architect, kind of, those cloud engineer, those fancy titles that you see out there, right? But to be honest, all these cloud skills, especially at the foundational level, they really help students get their foot in the door for these help desk, tech support jobs, tech support. Remember that there's such a push with getting employer or companies, small businesses that are operating on-prem meaning, not on the cloud and needing to go to the cloud, right? And so there's a lot involved in that sense in terms of not just technical skills, but being able to know about how a business operates. So since you mentioned skills and specific job titles, it's very diverse right now. I mean, remember I mentioned AI, even those areas and some of those skills around the tools that Amazon uses. So, but just in short, help desk, tech support, cloud engineer, even data engineers as well. That's the term for your new age kind of software engineers that use the cloud database systems to deploy them. That's the other term, data engineer. And I recommend just, look at the US labor websites and those kinds of places for those. And I'd be happy to get in touch with anyone if you'd like from our point of view.
Yeah, and I'll just add that, Houston doesn't typically get thought of as, a tech hub like Austin or somewhere up on the West Coast, but all of our companies obviously need tech support and tech skilled labor out there. So you'll see a lot of the business services companies in Houston picking up our tech talent, anything from the finance sector to downstream oil and gas, and then of course the medical center is so big in Houston. So, these are more not necessarily tech companies, but they're folks that have departments that need to have tech skills.
Another big comment I'll make is there's so much data out there, right? And a lot of the jobs are around what to do with that data. So having scripting skills with Python, for example, so that's why there's a big push in AI and machine learning and neural networks when you talk about robotics. And so all these things need to be automated, and that's why the tools on Amazon and leveraging the cloud computing, that kind of power is what's allowing us to be able to get through all that data, but you still need the humans to deploy those solutions, to figure out what's needed and what to make out of it. So it's you see a convergence of all industries, improving their operations. Even you look at Volkswagen, for example, they're all about using AWS for improving their car manufacturing. And so there's a lot of skills just in that industry, right? There's pockets everywhere right now.
John, we have a comment, just if we could share the PDF of the slides after the meeting with those who attended.
Yes, I can send it to Martha, and Martha, feel free to share with those who asked for it.
Thank you so much. We will do.
So we plan on posting both this recording and the slides to the events page. So if you want to go to the TACC website, you go to this event with this date, and you'll find both the recording and the slides coming very soon. We have another question then. Any company in any sector that is using cloud computing as part of their IT system need individuals with these skills? Oh, answer to the question. So we definitely will have a copy of the slides on our website coming up very soon.
Yeah, just one thing to highlight also. Last month, AWS and HCC hosted an employer roundtable on IT, work-based learning in IT. And our initial thought was that we would get tech companies specifically to sign up and engage in that conversation. And what we found was that they were all over the place. We had insurance, we had healthcare, we had tech, and then we had business services. So, just to highlight that the need is there across the board, and supporting the skills that these employers need is key.
All right, any other question? You can either unmute or type it in the chat if you like. We still have a few more minutes left.
And
while
while
you're
the
doing
question,
that,
yeah.
Please go ahead, John.
Sure. Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment. What we at AWS would really like to do is work with community colleges and prospective employers like Tech Systems to help develop internships, apprenticeships, capstone projects that will pave the way toward employability. We think that's very important, and we want to be able to work with your institutions, with your faculty, to not only do the educational component, which is very important in training for cloud skills, but to relay that into a pipeline where they could do some capstone projects, internships, apprenticeships that could further their opportunities and increase their likelihood of getting jobs and getting good jobs.
I'm wondering, John or Mike, if you could give any examples of the apprenticeships that you're either starting or you're having some good traction around, and what was sort of key to being able to kick those off?
Well, I'll take one outside of IT. We are partnered with Aon, which is a large insurance and risk management multinational company, to offer an apprenticeship for insurance analysts. And that program is actually a 2-year associate's degree with a specialization in insurance. the students work 28 hours a day, a week, 28 hours a day, that'd be fun. 28 hours a week at Aon, where they also get on-the-job training through them. And then they pick up their degree through us 12 hours a week. It's a strong partnership. Aon is the registered apprentice sponsor. Obviously, they don't have to be. We could be the sponsor in that. But in this case, I think it's a really strong model to show that, you know, apprenticeships don't have to just be in the craft trades that they've traditionally been. You just need an employer that's enlightened and a champion for good talent. The beauty of the apprenticeship is that they get exactly what they want out of an employee, and you know, it's long-term. It creates loyalty. There's increased wage over time, so it's definitely a model that's worth doing.
So I do have a question. Since we have chief academic officers on the line, I know HCC, you just went through a very successful TACC COC accreditation visit. One of the questions that always comes up is when you are taking a curriculum developed by someone else and integrating it into your system, how does TACC view that? And did you have any issues during your site visit utilizing the AWS curriculum that's embedded in your other curriculum?
I don't know that came up. Samir, do you know if there was any issue with the AWS? I mean, the curriculum we run, you know, the standards are large enough within the coordinating board system that you can capture quite a bit and add to as opposed to subtract from. So, you know, rather than take away from our curriculum, I think it's a supplement or definitely an enhancement. But Samir, do you know if there was any questions?
Mike, let me address that question since
okay.
they indicated the chief academic officers, and I am present and been listening to the presentation. Thank you for all the responses you guys have given. But we didn't have any issues at all with the curriculum. You know, part of what SACs require, of course, is our faculty are totally involved in determining what that curriculum should be. So we had no issues with that in the fact that our faculty are involved. The only thing they wanted to make sure is that, again, that the student learning outcomes are met. And so, again, we had no issues with that. So as a matter of fact, I want to report that we had no recommendations after our decennial visit. So we are very proud of that.
Thank you, Norma, so much for providing that insight. I think that's a question we always have. So I really do appreciate you and Michael responding to that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I do want to, just before we leave, I do want to take this opportunity to thank AWS Educate and HCC for inviting Jason, myself, and Michelle. But I do want to leave with a quick update that we are starting our next boot camp in January. That will be towards the end, September 25th, January 2022. And we will start our efforts to align ourselves with different community colleges. HCC is partnering, and we're going to partner with them obviously extensively. But if you would like to reach out to us, I know the information, I will just put it on the chat. Michelle, if you can put your email, we would love to get in touch with you and provide you more information if you would like that, because we are looking to double the number that we had from last year to this year. So we are going to go about 200 graduates that we're going to have graduate and then hire them full-time with tech systems. So I just wanted to throw it out there and let you know we are absolutely looking forward to partnering with you all.
I love that. Thank you so much, Minu. So I want to echo the thanks for our AWS for being such great partners with us and creating this opportunity for our community colleges, and for tech systems for making that offer. We certainly are looking to scale up quickly those jobs that are the most meaningful in our communities, and certainly are looking for opportunities around apprenticeships or any kind of work and sort of earn and learn at the same time, any kind of opportunities we can get our students out there. So the last thing I'll add then, and first I'll pause and see if John or Kimberly or Mike or Martha have anything to add, and then I'll just give my last comments.
I just want to thank everyone for your time today. We've really enjoyed speaking with you, and visiting with you and answering any questions that you have. But we're excited about the opportunity here, and we hope that that you got from this that the AWS is here to help support wherever we can. And we've kind of highlighted an example here of how a local company has partnered with Houston Community College to implement and help fill their talent pipeline needs. And we're happy to integrate and help support other partnerships for you. I'll leave the final word for my colleague, John Lee, but just thank you for your time today.
Thank you for your time. That's all I have. And if there are any questions, feel free to reach out to us. And it would be great for those institutions that are not yet partnering with us, be able to get on that website and refer us to your faculty members or department chairs.
Very good. So thank you for that. And I'll just say, if you didn't catch the emails, you know that Martha and I are always here to help support your work. If you want to email us, and we will get you in touch with anyone who's been on this webinar. I'll leave you with two things you can do. And that is, you can go to the website, but you can also talk to your teams that are coming to Dallas next week and ask them to think about how they put this AWS work in with their action plans, so we can keep the support coming along and embed it in the guided pathways work. So thank you for your afternoon. I appreciate you. And we will see you in Dallas. Bye-bye, everyone.